I forgot to share the inheritance assignment. Okay, I'll do it after today's session. I'm very sorry. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we have seen. So we saw object is something which has we basically started creating. Object is a real-time entity. It has got the state, behavior, identity, and responsibility. Then we discussed the principles of object-oriented programming, which is abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Abstraction is selective ignorance. So we select some of the attributes and we ignore the ones which are not relevant for the given application. Encapsulation is binding of the state and behavior into one unit. Inheritance is a relationship. And polymorphism is single message, multiple implementation. So yesterday in Saturday's session, what we had done was we had created this employee class. Okay, and in employee class we had EID, ename, basic. So here we have employee class. Okay, so we also saw the concept of constructor. So constructor is a special type of method which is called which is called after the creation of object, and its purpose is to initialize the object. So we can have default constructor, that is zero parameter constructor, and we can also have a parameterized constructor. So we are passing the parameters here for the initialization. Also we covered the static concept, right? So static is one copy for the entire class, whereas non-static is object level. Then display method. So display, we had seen this part, right? So when we go for inheritance, I showed you how to execute the, वो try किया सबने debugging वाला option. So we saw that whenever it will come to the child class constructor, from here it will jump to the parent class. तो अगर उसको नहीं बताएंगे, when we don't mention, it will always jump to the parent class default constructor. So if you don't want that, then you have to use member initialization list. So we use base, ID, name, like this. So from here it will jump to the employees parameterized constructor. Okay, so on the similar lines, we created sales manager and we created the admin class like this. And also we saw that in we use the base keyword to refer to the base class. Now one more thing regarding the functions I have to explain. This is specially for the Python students. Okay, in Python, when we define the function, we don't bother about the return type and everything. But here, whenever we are defining a function, we have to mention the return type space, name of function, and then we are going to give the parameter list. Parameter list. So this is the function, and then whatever code you have, after that we mention return whatever data we are going to have. So let's take an example to understand this. Suppose I have to define the sum function. So return type of the sum function is, let's say, integer. Name of the function is sum, and we are going to pass two parameters. So when you are mentioning the two parameters, you also have to mention its data type. So in Python, we had a luxury of directly writing x comma y. We never used the data type concept there, right? ठीक है मनोज, संजू, Vaishnavi, everybody, right? In Python, we were not mentioning data type, but here it is compulsory to mention the data type. So return type जो रहेगा वो भी mention करना है, and in the parameters also we have to mention the data type. So accordingly, return x plus y. So if here I have mentioned integer, then it is mandatory to write or return an integer. You cannot say return hello. This will give an error because you are trying to return a string, whereas the return type of this method is an integer. Is it clear? So return type will tell us what kind of data we are going to return. Okay, and when we define a constructor, another important thing, when you define a constructor, you will observe there is no return type in a constructor. Are you observing this? That this is also a method, right? But there is no return type. So for a constructor, we don't have a return type because compiler says I am going to initialize. So don't expect me to return anything. So there is no return type for a constructor. When when I have a method where I don't want to return anything, then we use void. Void means nothing, empty. जब आपको कुछ नहीं रिटर्न करना है तो आप क्या लिखोगे? void लिखोगे. समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Manoj, is it clear now? You were asking the other day about the return type. So as and when it will keep on coming, I will explain that part. Okay, but I hope you got the basic idea. Okay, and we were discussing this namespace concept also, but we were stuck with this protected internal or internal somewhere, right? So this part again I will take. I didn't get enough time to explore this further. So please give me some time. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will take this part again. Okay, but just a few points. What is a namespace? Namespace is a, we call this as a logical compartment. Yes, we can say it's like a package or a logical compartment which is used to group logically related elements. When I say elements, it can be class, it can be method, whatever. So all these things can be grouped together by using namespace. How to create a namespace? Namespace name. So let's say first namespace like this. Inside this, you may place your classes, etc. So I may have a class A here, I may have a class B here, and so on. Like this, I can have multiple classes inside this namespace. Now, let's say I have another namespace, second namespace. Okay, one more thing. See, in this project, I have already added the employee class. If I try to add one more employee class, will it allow? Already in this project, I have an employee class added. Can I add one more employee class? No. That is called as naming collision. Okay. So what is naming collision? Naming collision means same name class, two or more same name class within same assembly. Assembly, when I say, please understand, I am talking about the namespace. Namespace ही compile होके assembly बनता है. So we are having two or more classes with the same name within the same assembly. That is called as a naming collision. So obviously it is going to give error. So if I try to write here EMP, it is already showing me error that this file already exists. That is the problem we will face. Correct? So naming collision problem is there. So now I write here. So now if that is my requirement, suppose that I have to create the class A twice. So what we can do, we can put them in two different namespaces. So the name of this class will now become, means if I now want to use that class, then I will be writing here first ns dot a. Okay, and for the second one, we will be writing second namespace dot a b1 is equal to new second namespace dot a. Understood, everyone? I can have class A here also, but they are now present in different namespace. So that is allowed. Everybody okay with this point? Now, let's say I am in namespace third namespace. Suppose I am in the third namespace. Suppose we are in the third namespace, okay? And here I want to use maybe the first namespace. So how I'll write the class name? I'll have to write first namespace dot a1 is equal to new first namespace. Just 1 minute, student. Yes. So let's say there is a situation where we have a third namespace. So namespace maybe third namespace. And here we have suppose our main public static void main. Now, if I want to create the object, sorry, if I want to create the object, then what I will do, I will have to write first namespace dot a for the first one. Then again, I want to use the second class. So first namespace dot b. Then I will have to use first namespace dot c. So many times I have to write first namespace, first namespace, first namespace. That might be a little bit irritating for us. So what we can do is the solution is you can write using first namespace like this. You may write. Once you write like this, then these classes are directly accessible. Okay, so you don't have to write their names again and again. Understood, everyone? Like in Python, we use import. I think also in Java we are writing import, right? So here we have to use using. Got it, everyone? ये समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Okay. Now let me ask you a question. If we use two namespace, then what you will do? Two namespace, then you can write using second namespace. Then all the methods. In this case, suppose we are having the first namespace and second namespace where a class is there. So when you try to create the object of a, that is where you will be getting error, correct? Because now there is a confusion that this is coming from the first or the second. So you need to break the ambiguity by writing here first namespace. So then we don't have a choice. Understood, everybody? Otherwise, in normal, see, naming collision is a rare scenario. It will not happen always. Sometimes it might happen. So if at all it happens, you can write it like this. Otherwise, you are free to go ahead and write like this. So if till this point everybody is okay, please type clear. Then we will proceed further. Okay. Now moving ahead. What is the purpose of this display method? To display the information of employee, correct? What is the purpose of this display PRG? To display the information of programmer. What is the purpose of display sales here? To display information of sales manager. What is the purpose of display admin? To display data of the admin. So every time we are performing the display operation, all of them are doing the display operation. Then the question is, why are we writing different names? Why not directly use display? So let me go ahead and make the changes here. So instead of display PRG, I will change the name to display. So this will reduce more and more confusion. Now it is straightforward and simple. Every time I am saying display means display the information. Correct? Everybody okay with this point? I have made some changes now. Everywhere I have made the name of the display method as display. Now you can see a small line coming up, which is giving some warning, which I will explain you later. But first, let's execute it. So let me go to program.cs and I will just change this to main. And now we are not using display PRG, rather we are using display everywhere. So it's straightforward and simple, that P1.display, S1.display, A1.display. Now if I execute this output, let's observe the output first. Please observe the output here. EID, ename, basic. Wait a minute. Let me just clean the solution. Clean means previous exe file is deleted and we execute it again from the fresh. Extra hours, cost per hours, commission, incentive. Okay, so even with display function, everything is working fine, correct? Only thing is you can see some green line coming up. So what exactly happened? Let's understand this point. We had an employee class. Okay, and then we created the programmer class. Oops. Sorry. And here we had added. Now please observe this point, everybody. Let's say I have just added a display method here, not in the child class. And I create object of the child class P1 and I write P1.display. Which display will be called? There is only one display method in the employee class and there is no display method in the programmer class, and this is inheritance, and I write P1.display. Which display will be called? Parent class display will be called because it is inherited. So anyways, it will call the parent class display. If I go ahead and write display here as well, abhi jo humne kiya, we have added a display method in the programmer as well. And now I am writing P1.display. So which display method will now get called? Display of the programmer will get called. Correct, everyone? Everybody okay with that? So when you create the object of programmer, it will check in the programmer class, display is present in the programmer. The first priority will be given to the display of programmer, not to the parent class display. So which method is being called? The child class method is being called. फिर से एक बार देखो, हाँ, ये मेथड अगर नहीं है, if this method is not present, then which display is getting called? The first one. The moment I add this display method, then it starts calling this one but not this one. Correct hai? So there was a display from the parent which was getting called earlier. The moment I added display in the child class, then that display got called but not the parent one. So in general we can say child class display method is hiding the parent class display method. Can we say like this? इसके आने की वजह से ये कॉल नहीं हो रहा है ना, जब तक ये नहीं था, when it was not there, it was allowing me to call the display of parent. The moment we added this, what are we saying? This display is hiding the display of the employee class, correct? This concept is known as function hiding. So what is function hiding? Child class display method hides. So child class method, any method hides the method of parent class. That is known as function hiding. Are you all understanding what is function hiding? अगर चाइल्ड क्लास में नहीं होता तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं था, क्लैरिटी था कि पेरेंट से है. द मोमेंट द चाइल्ड क्लास मेथड गॉट एडेड, इट विल नॉट अलाउ यू टू कॉल द पेरेंट क्लास मेथड. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज फंक्शन आईडी. मतलब आप कभी भी p1 डॉट लिखोगे, whenever you are writing p1 dot display, it will always call the display of the programmer, not of the parent. So this method is hiding the display of the employee. Is it clear everyone? That is function hiding concept. So in C sharp, whenever there is function hiding, you will observe that there will be a green line coming up, which is an indicator to us that maybe by mistake you are doing it. हो सकता है ना आप गलती से ऐसा कर दो, गलती से ऐसा करोगे तो you will be hiding the parent class method. That is why it is coming up with a warning telling us that this is function hiding you are doing. So I have to say okay, I know Baba, मुझे पता है मुझे क्या करना है. So how to just suppress this warning? You just have to write new keyword here. When you write new, can you see that warning is disappearing? And you can also see this line coming up. मैंने खुद आपको बोला था method name should be capital, but I am using small. So that is one rule breaking I am doing. So let me just correct myself. So wherever there is a warning, we need to write here new keyword. So new will suppress the warning and tell the compiler that I know what I am doing. I am doing function hiding, but that is intentional. Everybody is understanding what is function hiding and the warning and everything is clear? Everybody? Sorry. So now the output and everything will remain the same, but the approach of writing the code we have changed. Output is still the same. There is no change in the output. Now let's move ahead with a different type of approach. But before that, everybody is comfortable till this point? Then when we have to write based on display for calling, yes, that is what I have done, programmer. Okay. That too inside this class, inside this method, sorry. From main, it is not accessible. You don't have any option to call it from main. समझ में आ रहा है मनोज? मेन मेथड से कभी भी आप p1 डॉट डिस्प्ले लिखोगे, it will always call the child class method. It will not call the parent class method. So inside the child class method, you have to write base.display to call the parent class method. Understood? Okay, now let's move ahead. Now what I'm going to do is, okay, let me take another example. Let us say that there is a room. Okay, there is a room. And inside this room, some people are sitting. So who are those people? Some might be programmers. Some might be admin people. Some might be sales manager. Like this, we have some people in the room. I enter into the room and I say, I want to speak to an employee. Please listen to my question carefully. This is a room where some people are sitting, where some are programmers, some are admin, some are sales manager. I enter into the classroom and I am saying, I want to talk to an employee. Who should I talk to? I can talk to anybody because they all are employees. Correct, everyone? Okay, now coming back to the way we created the object, let's explore this part one more time. We have discussed the memory allocation and everything also. Okay, let's explore this line one more time. Okay, this is one programmer object. So if you observe from the memory allocation perspective, I think we discussed it in a previous session, how it is done. So what is P1 now? What is P1? P1 कहाँ पे बनाना है हमको? On the stack. So P1 is there on the stack. Shweta, P1 will be there on the stack and the real object will be present on the heap. So here we will have the real object. Okay, so 101, Purnima, 12K, 10, like this. Let's say this address is 100. So 100 will be added over here. Understood? So what is this P1? P1 is holding address of this memory block. So P1 को क्या बुलाते हैं हम? What do we call P1? It is called as a reference. We use the word reference, not the pointer. Okay, pointer is the term from C++ where you can see the address. But reference, we cannot see the address. It is internally, yes, it is like pointer, but we cannot see the address in reference. Okay, but it is holding the address of this object. Correct, everyone? So so if I go ahead and now please understand this point one more time. Let's say I am writing programmer P2. What do you understand by this? Just I am writing programmer P2. What do you understand by this line? Did I create an object of the programmer? No, it is not the object, it is just the reference. So here the reference is created only. What is created is a reference. When the reference is created, what is it asking for? किसका रेफर ये किसका रेफरेंस है? प्रोग्रामर का. तो उसको क्या चाहिए? What does it want? Object. किसका ऑब्जेक्ट चाहिए? ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ प्रोग्रामर, राइट? इफ यू गिव इट ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ एडमिन, चलेगा क्या? If you give the object of sales manager, चलेगा क्या? No, because it is a reference of programmer. Correct है? It says give me object of programmer. Don't give me admin. Don't give me sales manager. Understood, everyone? Now, let me write another statement. What do you understand by this line? Yes, Manoj. You want to ask something? Please ask.
मैम यहाँ पे P1 जस्ट एक रेफरेंस है.
हाँ.
yes,
और ये
main
जो
object
न्यू
तो heap.
कीवर्ड है ना, न्यू कीवर्ड जब हम यूज करते हैं तो एक्चुअली मेमोरी एलोकेशन होता है ऑब्जेक्ट के लिए. सो न्यू प्रोग्रामर व्हेन यू राइट दिस होल थिंग, दैट इज वेयर द रियल ऑब्जेक्ट इज क्रिएटेड. सिर्फ इतना लिख देने से ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बनता है. ठीक है.
तो फिर
तो अगर
व्हाट
मैंने
इज द नेम ऑफ. यस मैम.
अगर मैंने प्रोग्रामर P2 लिखा है तो यहाँ पे न्यू कीवर्ड दिख रहा है क्या?
नो.
तो ऑब्जेक्ट बना क्या?
नो.
तो ये P2 क्या कहलाएगा? जस्ट अ रेफरेंस,
रेफरेंस.
ब्लैंक रेफरेंस है. ठीक है.
तो फिर मैम यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्ट का नेम क्या होगा?
कौन सा ऑब्जेक्ट का नेम?
P1 पे.
P1 में ऑब्जेक्ट, ये तो है ना ऑब्जेक्ट.
नहीं, if somebody asks me what is the name of object, तो मैं क्या
You
बताऊँ?
can say P1 only. It's
P1.
fine.
अच्छा.
हाँ, P1 is pointing to that object. Okay.
Okay.
That is fine.
ठीक है.
Now, if I write employee E, okay, what is this E now? It's a reference of employee. What does it want? Employee का reference है, उसको क्या चाहिए? Object of employee. Can I give it object of employee writing here new EMP? Is it fine? Can I give it new programmer? Programmer is an employee or not? Yes. So yes, I can give object to employee also. Understood, everybody? I can give sales manager, I can give admin as well. So let's do that now. So okay. So here I am writing employee E1 suppose. Okay. Let me just remove all the other code here. Now I am writing E1.display. So first it is important to understand this line. What are we doing? We are using reference of employee, but we are using reference, object of programmer. So again, coming back to the question that I asked earlier. This is a room in which people are sitting. Some of them are programmers, some of them are admin, some of them are sales managers. I come into the room and I say, I want to talk to employee. You said I can talk to anybody, correct? When I am looking at them, for me, who are they? मेरे लिए वो लोग कौन है? Employee. I am not aware of the fact that that employee is a programmer or a sales manager or an admin, correct? मुझे नहीं पता ना, तुम कुछ भी हो, मेरे लिए तो तुम employee हो, correct? Because I said you give me employee, you are giving me a programmer. तुम programmer दो या chief manager दो या headmaster दो, कुछ भी दो, मेरे लिए तो वो employee ही हुआ. Yes or no? Similarly, when we create the reference of employee, whatever you give me, तुम मुझे कुछ प्रोग्रामर दे दो, तुम मुझे सुपरमैन दे दो, कुछ भी दे दो, मेरे लिए तो वो एम्प्लॉय ही रहेगा, करेक्ट है? So when I call e1.display, what is the output expected? I think I should repeat my question one more time. चलो मेरा क्वेश्चन फिर से सुनो, इसी को ध्यान से दो. पहले आप रियल लाइफ से जोड़ो उसको, ठीक है? प्रोग्रामिंग में मत जाओ, रियल लाइफ सिनेरियो में मुझे बताओ. This is a room where so many people are there. Some are programmers, some are admin, some are sales manager. I enter into the room and I say I want to speak to an employee. You said I can speak to anybody. तो तुमने क्या किया? इनको मेरे सामने लाके खड़ा कर दिया. इन भाई साहब को मेरे सामने लाके खड़ा कर दिया. मैडम आप इनसे बात कर लीजिए, ये हमारे यहाँ के एम्प्लॉई है, बहुत अच्छे एम्प्लॉई. When I talk to this employee, मुझे क्या चाहिए था? What do I want? मुझे किससे बात करनी थी? I wanted to talk to an employee. जब तुम मुझे इस पर्सन को लाकर दोगे, मेरे नजर में ये कौन है? Is he an admin or he is an employee? एम्प्लॉय. तो जब मैं इनसे सवाल पूछूंगी तो जो रिजल्ट मुझे आएगा वो किसका आएगा? एम्प्लॉय का आएगा, ना कि प्रोग्रामर का. अंडरस्टूड? So even though you gave me programmer, that programmer will now behave like an employee. Understood? This is known as typecasting. अभी वो बदल चुका है, टाइपकास्ट हो गया है. वो किस में टाइपकास्ट हो गया है? एम्प्लॉय में, भले वो प्रोग्रामर है. ओके इसका बहुत अच्छा रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल है हमारे पास. श्रेयस, you are from Armstrong team, right? What is your designation? ये मुझे अभी तक पता नहीं था. तो मेरे लिए आप कौन हो? You are just a student for me, like all others, correct? So can I say right now you have been typecasted as a student? तुम .NET का रोल प्ले करते हो, that is fine, but as of now for me you are just a student, correct? So that is how the behavior will change. Okay, so see from the other perspective. आपको यहाँ किसके perspective से देखना है? यहाँ से देखना है. This is the decision making point. So when I write employee is equal to whatever you are writing, it will get converted into employee. So now if I run this program, observe the output. Can you see this? किसका display call हुआ? एम्प्लॉय का. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. समझ में आ रहा है सबको क्या हो रहा है? So let's do it for the others as well. तो अभी हम सेल्स मैनेजर और एडमिन का भी करेंगे, ठीक है? So let me write here EMP E2. So now when I execute this code, you will observe that this time the objects are of programmer, sales manager and admin, but you can see only the employee portion is being accessed here. जो उसके अंदर और भी चीजें थी. हाँ, इसको चलो ना, अभी अपने पास तो प्रूफ ऑप्शन है ना, we can put a break point here. So if I press F11, oh sorry, it goes to the constructor. Now I am pressing F11. Can you see this? We are in which class? Employee class में है हम, दिख रहा है? Now when I press F11, you can see again it goes to the employee class. ठीक है? Clear है सबको? So this is another interesting concept that we have come across. हमारे पास था employee class. We had the employee class. Then we had another class that is a programmer. Okay. So in this case, what exactly happened? Let me copy this line. So when you write this line, what are we trying to do? We are trying to store the object of programmer into employee. So what exactly happened when we wrote even.display? What do we observe? that here we got the display of employee. So what I am telling you, even though the object is of type programmer, but it has been typecasted into employee. Programmer has been typecasted into employee. This is termed as upcasting. डिराइव क्लास जब बेस क्लास में कन्वर्ट होता है उसे हम क्या कहते हैं, अपकास्टिंग कहते हैं. गॉट इट एवरीवन? अपकास्टिंग समझ में आया सबको? क्योंकि मुझे पता नहीं था ना, मैंने बोला मुझे एम्प्लॉय दे दो, तुमने मुझे प्रोग्रामर दिया, आई वॉज नॉट अवेयर. तो अब तुम्हारा काम है, तुम मुझे बताओ ना कि नहीं नहीं ये आप जिससे बात कर रहे हो ना ये एम्प्लॉय नहीं, ये तो प्रोग्रामर है. कैसे बताओगे? सो व्हाट यू विल डू इज, एम्प्लॉय के आगे लिखो यहाँ पर प्रोग्रामर, लाइक दिस यू विल राइट. So we need a pair of brackets over here. So what are we telling? Even को हम बता रहे हैं कि भाई तुम एम्प्लॉय नहीं, तुम प्रोग्रामर हो. So we are doing again a typecasting here. रेफरेंस किसका है? एम्प्लॉय का है. पर अभी हमने उसको क्या किया, बताया नहीं भाई तुम रेफरेंस नहीं हो, एम्प्लॉय नहीं हो, तुम क्या हो, प्रोग्रामर हो. सो वी आर अगेन डूइंग द टाइपकास्टिंग हियर. तो इस स्टेटमेंट में हम क्या कर रहे हैं, what are we doing in this statement? दिस इज द सिंटैक्स फॉर टाइपकास्टिंग इन सी शार्प. ओके, ये एम्प्लॉय था, उसको हम कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं किसमें, प्रोग्रामर में. एम्प्लॉय इज बीइंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू प्रोग्रामर. एम्प्लॉय इज बीइंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू प्रोग्रामर, देन व्हाट इट शुड बी कॉल्ड? इसका नाम क्या होना चाहिए? डाउनकास्टिंग. परफेक्ट. दिस इज नोन एज डाउनकास्टिंग. ठीक है. सो अपकास्टिंग ऑटोमेटिक होता है, इट इज ऑटोमेटिक, हमें करने की जरूरत नहीं है. बट downcasting we have to do it, so it is called as explicit typecasting. हम करते हैं डाउनकास्टिंग, ठीक है, हमको करना पड़ता है, हमें बताना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज वो खुद से नहीं कर सकता कंपाइलर. सो वी हैव टू डू इट. सो व्हेन वी राइट डिस्प्ले, then now see what output you will get. So let me again press F5. Now here if I press F11, can you see this everyone, where it is going? It is now in the programmer's display. दिख रहा है आपको? अब यहाँ से base dot display and all those things will be called. Understood? So before we proceed further, is upcasting and downcasting part clear? Now the interesting thing is downcasting is a matter of syntax, right? Even के आगे bracket लगा और जो तुम्हारा मन है वो लिख दो. तो तुमने यहाँ क्या लिख दिया, प्रोग्रामर. मैंने बोला यार मुझे प्रोग्रामर में क्यों, मैं उसको सेल्स मैनेजर में कन्वर्ट क्यों ना कर दूं. So like we have Shreyas here who is a .NET developer and I typecast him into sales manager. So Shreyas, what will happen? We directly send you for sales and marketing. Maybe that is not his expertise. Then what is going to happen? Are you getting the question? Blind cast, correct. So actually अगर ऐसा किया हमने, is it good or bad? Bad, right? Because this can be dangerous. Asking Shreyas to go for marketing and all, it is dangerous. He says, "Ma'am, I am .NET developer. Why don't you only give me .NET developer work? Why are you giving me something else?" So that is problem. So if I execute this program, can you see my program is crashing with an exception coming up here? Okay, so my program will terminate here because the C# compiler will say this is a bad cast. Understood the problem, everyone? So downcasting is very very dangerous. Please avoid it. Don't use it. पहली बात तो लेकिन तुम बोलोगे अरे मैम लेकिन मुझे चाहिए मुझे ये करना है सो डोंट डू इट ब्लाइंडली ना ब्लाइंडली मत करो यही बोल रहे हैं चलो तुमको लिखना है ना तुम लिखो लेकिन उसके पहले चेक कर लो सो व्हाट यू विल चेक इफ E1 is programmer sorry then you perform this operation otherwise don't perform it blindly. Does that make sense everybody? Is operator is used to check like earlier I wrote something like this na else if E1 is sales manager then you typecast it to sales manager. Got it? So we are checking and then we are performing the conversion. So is operator is used to check whether that reference belongs to the particular class or not, whether it is that object actually is operator checks with the object किसका है अगर प्रोग्रामर का है तो वो ट्रू रिटर्न करता है अगर किसी और क्लास का है तो वो फॉल्स रिटर्न करेगा. So is operator is clear everybody? So this may be useful at times for you. इसके अलावा हमारे पास और एक ऑप्शन है. There is one more option that we have. We can write here say sales manager S1 is equal to E2 as sales manager instead of sorry S1 लिखना था ना मुझे E2 as sales manager ये भी हम लिख सकते हैं. This is another way of doing the typecasting. तो इसमें क्या होगा अगर अभी तो सेल्स मैनेजर है तो ये वर्क हो जाएगा. So here instead of writing E2 I will be writing here S1. समझ में आ रहा है? अभी के लिए समझो टाइपकास्टिंग का एक तरीका है. आई डिड द टाइपकास्टिंग आई कन्वर्टेड E2 इनटू सेल्स मैनेजर यूजिंग एज और वो किस में चला गया S1 में चला गया. सो व्हेन आई राइट S1 डॉट डिस्प्ले कन्वर्टिंग नल लिटरल पॉसिबल नल वैल्यू ठीक है. सो हाँ अभी तो ये वर्क करेगा नो प्रॉब्लम विद दैट. कैन यू सी दिस कमीशन आउटपुट आ रहा है मतलब ये वर्क हो रहा है. What if I try to change it to admin? So what as operator does, अगर वो conversion possible नहीं है तो पहले एरर दे रहा है एक मिनट. Convert if S1 equal to null. अगर वो कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाता है तो वो नल देता है लेकिन इधर एरर ही दे रहा है एक मिनट. So it is not allowing us only. Converting null, literal or possible null values. ठीक है वो ऐसे करने ही नहीं दे रहा है. I think so this is it was allowed in earlier version in newer version it is not allowed. तो ये allowed ही नहीं है. चलो वो टेंशन ही खत्म हो गया तो ये रहने दो फिर. ठीक है. आई होप एवरीवन इज ओके विद द इज वन. इज पार्ट क्लियर है सबको? इज बेटर है ना हम लोग चेक कर रहे हैं और फिर हम टाइपकास्टिंग कर रहे हैं. दैट पार्ट इज ओके एवरीबडी. But why to do typecasting package object directly? Yes, I'm coming to that point, Manoj. Don't worry. अभी ओपी कॉन्सेप्ट का एक और पॉइंट बचा है ना. इनहेरिटेंस हमने देखा उसके बाद का पॉइंट कौन सा है? What is the next principle of object-oriented programming? Polymorphism. So we have not covered polymorphism. So now we will go ahead with the polymorphism concept. ठीक है वहाँ पे उसकी जरूरत पड़ेगी. So let me write here. Okay, so let me have the statements again. Okay, so again I have written the same code, and we know that in this case what will happen, upcasting will happen, and in this case the display of the employee will get called. Now coming back to the discussion of polymorphism that we have earlier had. What was that discussion we had earlier? That suppose there is a vehicle, okay, and there are so many vehicles which are there. So there might be a bike, there might be a car, a truck, or a bus. And now we say stop. So who will stop? There is a single message, right? Stop. So we give the message to the vehicle. So who will stop? Bike will also stop. Car will also stop. That means the stop operation of the bike and the car is getting called, correct? हम क्या कर रहे हैं, व्हीकल को बोल रहे हैं स्टॉप, लेकिन एक्चुअली स्टॉप कौन होने वाला है, बाइक और कार होने वाले हैं. So the method of the what do you say, child class will get called, correct है. If we want this type of behavior without typecasting, अभी देखो आप, जो ट्रैफिक सिग्नल होता है अपना, जब वो रेड होता है, so does it go to the bike and say bike bike you please stop, car car you please stop, ऐसे बोलता है क्या वो? नहीं, right? It just turns red and it's a message for everybody stop. It doesn't go to each and every object saying stop stop, correct है. So whoever is a bike should see the message and implement the behavior as a bike, not as a vehicle. कार स्टॉप करेगा, लेकिन किसको स्टॉप करेगा? कार को स्टॉप करेगा, ना कि व्हीकल को. So what we want is the implementation should be of the child, not of the parent. That is our requirement. लेकिन उसके लिए तुम मुझे टाइप कास्टिंग करने को मत बोलो. That is our requirement. Are you understanding what? क्योंकि तुम सबसे मैंने जब पहले पूछा कि इसका आउटपुट क्या आएगा, तो तुमने क्या बोला? प्रोग्रामर का आएगा, बोला था कि नहीं? बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट योर एक्सपेक्टेशन इज, करेक्ट. अगर यहाँ पर हम बोल रहे हैं e2 डॉट डिस्प्ले, सो योर एक्सपेक्टेशन इज इट शुड कॉल द डिस्प्ले ऑफ सेल्स मैनेजर. यहाँ पर एडमिन का डिस्प्ले कॉल होना चाहिए. दैट इज अवर रिक्वायरमेंट. अंडरस्टूड एवरीवन? ये हमारा रिक्वायरमेंट है, ठीक है. So how to achieve that? You go to the programmer class and you just write here a keyword that is override. And you have to also go to the employee class and you have to mark this method as virtual. बेस क्लास में जाओ और वो जो मेथड है उसको वर्चुअल लिखो, एंड यू कम टू द चाइल्ड क्लास एंड यू ओवरराइड दैट मेथड. Okay, now you see this. We are not making any changes here, no typecasting, everything, and we execute the program. Can you see this? It is calling the programmer's display. It is calling the sales manager's display. It is calling the admin's display. So now it is calling the method from the child class. That is what is function overriding. So we have the parent class here and we have the child class here. So basically overwriting is the solution for the earlier. Yes. Correct. So here we used the reference of the parent class, but object is of child class. ये ऐसा upcasting हुआ यहाँ पर. But when you say p1 dot and you call a method, it will not call the parent class method, but it will call the child class method. That is what is function overriding. The child class is overriding the method of the parent class. But how do we achieve that in C#? Parent class method needs to be marked as virtual and child class method needs to be marked as override. ये दो keywords लिखोगे तो ही function overriding achieve होगा C sharp में. Understood? Everybody is clear? So we are just going and saying, now see this line. यहाँ पर आप देखो E1 डॉट डिस्प्ले, यहाँ पर आप देखो E2 डॉट डिस्प्ले, यहाँ पर आप देखो E3 डॉट डिस्प्ले. सो वी डोंट नो राइट यहाँ पे प्रोग्रामर है या सेल्स मैनेजर है या एडमिन है. जब हम इस प्रोग्राम को रन करेंगे देन इट विल चेक ओके ऑब्जेक्ट इज ऑफ प्रोग्रामर देन कॉल प्रोग्रामर्स डिस्प्ले. ऑब्जेक्ट इज ऑफ टाइप सेल्स मैनेजर call the sales manager's display. Object is of type admin, so call the admin's display like this. So at runtime the decision will be taken based on the object. जिसका object है उसका method call हो जाएगा. That is overriding concept. So what is function overriding? If we have same method in base as well as derived, parent या base class method is marked as virtual and child class method is marked as override. Then using base class reference, when we call the method, what will happen? Child class method will be called. This is called as function overriding. You all have studied function overriding concept. Python में भी है, Java में भी है, right? So only thing is little bit differences in the syntax are there. Concept is the same. Understood everybody? सबको function overriding. So when we achieve function overriding, can we not say this is polymorphic behavior? अगर समझो मैंने ये E1 E2 नहीं बनाया, इसको E1 ही लिख देते हैं. Let's first E1 was pointing to programmer, now it is pointing to sales manager, and now E1 is pointing to the admin. So E1 dot display programmers display, E1 dot display sales managers dot display, E1 dot display admins display. So it is the same message but multiple implementation. That is what is a polymorphic behavior. ठीक है? Can we say this is a polymorphic statement? Because it is the same message but the output is different. यही लाइन है ना, बार बार हम वही लाइन आगे लिख रहे हैं. There is no difference in parameter and everything. So every time same message I am using but the implementation is different. एक बार वो programmer का show कर रहा है, एक बार sales manager, एक बार admin. That is what is function overriding, and this is the polymorphic statement. Understood everybody? Okay. Now in C sharp there is one more concept. Like suppose there is a class I have created and I don't want that anybody should be able to inherit it. हो सकता है ना, मैंने क्लास बनाया लेकिन मैं नहीं चाहती कि कोई और उसको इनहेरिट करे उसके बिहेवियर को, क्योंकि हम ओवरराइड करेंगे तो हम उसके बिहेवियर को चेंज करते हैं. करेक्ट है? Whenever we inherit we are free to override the method, so we are changing the behavior. So sometimes I don't want this. मैंने एक क्लास बनाया और मेरा कहना है कि इसको ऐसे ही यूज करो, उसको चेंज मत करो. So let's create a class Let's have a class. Let's call this as demo 1. ऐसा कुछ एक क्लास मैंने बनाया. Display, suppose I am display from demo 1. Suppose this is one class I have created, but I don't want that this class, चलो class का भी एक है option और method का भी है कि मेरे पास दो method है यहाँ पर. Public void demo display. These are the two methods I have. Okay, so these are the two methods I have. I want when somebody inherits this class, they can override the display method, but they should not be able to override demo display. अगर ऐसा मेरा requirement है, तो आप इस method के सामने लिख दो sealed. Cannot be sealed because it is not an override. It is not an override. पता नहीं, शायद मेथड को नहीं लिख सकते क्या, पता नहीं, चेक करती हूँ मैं. Let's use this one. So as I was telling you that let's mark this class as sealed. So when you create a class which is sealed, what is the meaning? I cannot inherit this class. So if I try to create another class, say test, and I try to write here demo 1. Okay, I'm trying to create a class test using this class. So can you see the error coming up? You cannot derive a class from the sealed class. Understood? So this is another important point that you need to remember. What is a sealed class? We cannot inherit the sealed class. Got it? Clear है ये point, everybody? उसको आप एज अ नॉर्मल क्लास यूज कर सकते हो, ऑब्जेक्ट बना सकते हो, पर उसको इनहेरिट नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, दैट इज अ सील्ड क्लास. Okay. Now one more point I forgot in the previous session. Let me add another class. Let's say there is a time class. Okay. So here I have created a time class in which I have some private data members, that is HR, minute and second. And we have already discussed that private data is not accessible outside the class. Correct है? हम उसको बाहर class के access नहीं कर सकते. So coming to the program.cs, this is suppose main for so time t1 is equal to new time Say I have given this as 10, 20, 30. Now what if I want to change? एक बार मैंने object तो बना दिया है. Now I want to change the value of HR minute and second. So what do I do? As of now, I don't have an option to do this, correct? How do I change it, right? So this is where the concept of getters and setters comes into picture. So how many data members we have here? 3. So for 3 data members, we can use 3 getters and 3 setters. So whenever you are creating getter and setter, you need to focus on the data type. तो HR minute second का data type क्या है? Int. तो अब हम getter कैसे बनाएंगे? Public return type is int get HR. And what this get HR will do? It will return HR. Understood? Now on the similar lines, I will use get minute. समझ में आ रहा है? Getter समझ में आ रहा है सबको? So these are the public methods using which I am getting the value of HR minute and second. Similarly, we can have setters. तो setter का काम क्या है? Value set करना. So here we will have public void set HR. So HR is equal to H. So like we have अगर समझो मैंने यहाँ पर min लिखा है. So when I am going to write min is equal to min, that will be confusing, correct? So we have to write here this dot to indicate that this belongs to the object. So similarly here we will have set second. So these are the getters and setters. Understood everyone? Getter setter समझ में आया? किसी ने शायद उस दिन पूछा था क्लास में, है ना? So now I can write t1 dot. सबसे पहले तो हम डिस्प्ले कर लेते हैं. So t1 dot display if I am writing t1 dot set HR. Let's change this to maybe 33. And then again I will write t1 dot display. So here you can see 10 has changed to 33. इनको modifiers भी कहते हैं. नहीं modifier नहीं, क्या बोलते हैं? Mutators, sorry. ये change, they change the state, right? Setters are changing the state of the object. So they are also called as mutators. उड़ गया क्या? Sorry. So before I proceed, everybody okay with the state getter and setter part and whatever we have seen, function overriding, ये सब समझ में आया सबको? Now there is one more concept provided in C sharp. अच्छा, अगर मैं लिखूं, let's say I write here t1 dot hr is equal to like this, or I write this statement. ये दो स्टेटमेंट मैंने आपके सामने लिखे हैं. अब आप मुझे बताओ, दोनों काम एक ही कर रहे हैं? सॉरी, काम तो दोनों, अरे सॉरी, both are doing the same task, right? They are trying to change the value of hr. t1 dot hr is equal to 33. t1 dot set hr, and in the bracket I am passing 33. Both are doing the same job. Can you tell me which one looks more user friendly? कौन सा ज्यादा यूजर फ्रेंडली लगता है हमको? फर्स्ट वन और द सेकंड वन? The first one is more user friendly, correct. So if I want to achieve this, अगर मुझे ये अचीव करना है, तो एक ऑप्शन है कि मैं एचआर को पब्लिक बना दूं. If it is public, it will be accessible over here. But what if I write here -33? -33 ये वैलिड है क्या टाइम? So can I say if you make it public, there is no security of the data. डायरेक्टली अगर हम ऐसा करेंगे तो कुछ भी वैल्यू असाइन हो जाएगी, तो हम फिर से प्रॉब्लम में फंसेंगे. So some check should be there, right? That is the benefit of getters and setters. मतलब आप यहाँ पर सेट करते समय आप चेक भी कर सकते हो ना. If h is greater than 0, greater than equal to 0, then only allow this operation. समझ में आ रहा है? So if it is negative value, then we will not allow this type of setting. So can I say using setter is a more secured approach? But it is not user friendly. ये एक बड़े दुख की बात है. तो मुझे दोनों चाहिए, मुझे सिक्योरिटी भी चाहिए और मुझे यूजर फ्रेंडली भी चाहिए. That is where C# comes up with a concept called as property. So how to create a property? Public int, मतलब data type int get, and just put a bracket. No simple bracket, हाँ, यहाँ simple bracket नहीं डालना, just hit like this. नहीं रुको, क्या लिखना था इधर? पब्लिक इंट, यहाँ पर आप कोई भी एक दूसरा नाम सिलेक्ट करो. जैसे यहाँ पर स्मॉल में लिखा है ना HR, तो मैंने HR लिखा, या फिर HOUR, ऐसा एनी यूजर फ्रेंडली नेम यू कैन सेलेक्ट. पब्लिक इंट आवर्स लाइक दिस, एंड जस्ट यूज अ पेयर ऑफ कर्ली ब्रेसेस. अब उसके अंदर गेट रिटर्न दिस डॉट HR, set HR is equal to value. We use the value keyword here. So we are using getters and setters. Okay, the syntax is a little bit different ना. ये जो हम getter setter पहले बना रहे थे उससे अलग तरीके का syntax है. So small HR जो लिखा था उसकी जगह HOUR hour use करना है. So get क्या करेगा? Return करेगा this dot HR, और set क्या करेगा? HR is equal to value. Like this we are going to set the value. Understood? ये समझ में आ रहा है सिंटैक्स सबको? थोड़ा सा अलग सिंटैक्स है. कहीं पे भी देखो आप सिंपल ब्रैकेट्स नहीं लगाना है. नो वेयर यू विल बी पुटिंग द ब्रैकेट. नाउ द इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इज व्हेन यू कम टू मेन, ये सब अगर मैं हटा दूं, सो T1 डॉट, सीधे सीधे आप यहाँ पे आवर्स इज इक्वल टू ऐसे लिख सकते हो. अंडरस्टूड? सिमिलरली इफ यू वांट टू प्रिंट द वैल्यू, गेट करना है अपने को, सो T1 डॉट आवर्स. So if I try to कहाँ गया? 1 minute. If I just debug this code, so in this line, if I press F11, ये पूछ रहा है yes बोल दो इसको. अच्छा हाँ, वो शायद ना कुछ एक सेटिंग करना पड़ता है. debug properties. कहाँ है बेटा? options. हाँ ये दिख रहा है, से go to tools and then go to options and in the debugging section there is general में आपको दिख रहा है step over, उसको अनचेक करो तभी वो हमको अंदर जाने देगा, ठीक है. So click on OK. Now let's start it again. So here if I press F11, can you see this now where it is going? It is going to the setter sorry, क्योंकि हमने सेट किया ना वैल्यू. अब यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हैं हम, वी आर ट्राइंग टू फेच द वैल्यू, तो अब वो किसके पास जाएगा, गेट के पास जाएगा. समझ में आ रहा है. सो यूजिंग दिस इज द प्रॉपर्टी कॉन्सेप्ट, ये जो हमने अभी किया इज कॉल्ड एज अ प्रॉपर्टी. गॉट इट एवरीबॉडी, समझ में आया सबको. तो इससे हमको दोनों भी मिल गया, मतलब मेथड गेटर और सेटर का बेनिफिट भी मिला एंड इट इज यूजर फ्रेंडली एज अ पब्लिक डेटा मेंबर. ठीक है. नाउ इन जावा एवरीबॉडी हैज स्टडीड द टू स्ट्रिंग मेथड, आपने पढ़ा है टू स्ट्रिंग मेथड जावा में. एंड इन पाइथन वी हैव द अंडरस्कोर str मेथड. व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दैट मेथड, क्या करता है वो मेथड. Convert the object into string. Very good. So another important point that you should remember, that every data type in C# is inherited from one common base class, that is system dot object. Every data type, whether it is an integer or a float or a string or employee, कोई भी object होने दो, everything is inherited from system dot object. So there are set of methods which are present here in system.object, वो सब यहाँ पर भी आते हैं. So one of the method that is there is toString method. toString method भी यहाँ पर हमको मिलता है. So let's come back to main method. Now instead of calling e1.display, suppose I write here console.writeLine e1. देखो हम लोग console.writeLine x लिख सकते हैं, console.convert.toString, कन्वर्ट इनटू स्ट्रिंग, राइट. तो ये समझ में आ रहा है सबको. अगर हमने console.writeLine e1 लिखा, console.writeLine e1 लिखा, e1 लिखा, सो व्हाट आर वी एक्सपेक्टिंग, हम e1 को प्रिंट करना चाह रहे हैं, डिस्प्ले करना चाह रहे हैं. So we are expecting that it should show the information of programmer. In this case, it should display the information of sales manager. In this case, it should display the information of admin. That is our requirement, expectation, right? But when we execute this, what it will do? Can you see the output? It is just showing us the name of the class. वो ऑब्जेक्ट किस क्लास का है केवल वो आउटपुट शो करता है. Is it okay everyone? In C#, this is the behavior. So why this is happening? Because whenever you write console.writeLine, internally C# tries to call toString method. पर हमने अपने क्लास में toString method लिखा है क्या? Did we write toString method here? No. So it goes to the parent class, system.object में जाता है. And from there it just returns the name of the class. ठीक है. तो अभी हमको अगर वो नहीं चाहिए, we want our customized behavior. So what you will do? Public override. You can see toString option coming up. So just write here toString. तो यहाँ पर आप अपना खुद का string बना लो जो आपको output चाहिए. So string result suppose. So here अभी क्या नाम है, मनोज, ये समझ में आ रहा है. रिटर्न टाइप इस मेथड का क्या है, स्ट्रिंग. सो दिस मेथड इज गोइंग टू रिटर्न अ स्ट्रिंग. अंडरस्टूड. ठीक है, समझ में आया? वी हैव क्रिएटेड अवर ओन स्ट्रिंग, सो eid प्लस eid ename बेसिक ये सब लिया हमने, उसको कॉन्कैटिनेट करके एक स्ट्रिंग बना दिया. सो व्हेन आई से रिजल्ट इट इज गोइंग टू रिटर्न दिस मच इंफॉर्मेशन. अब इसको लेकर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं और कहाँ जाते हैं, प्रोग्रामर में. सो नाउ अगेन आई एम राइटिंग पब्लिक ओवरराइड टू स्ट्रिंग. सो इट ऑटोमेटिक कम्स विद बेस डॉट टू स्ट्रिंग. तो प्रोग्रामर के लिए बेस कौन सा होगा, एम्प्लॉय होगा. सो लेट मी राइट हियर स्ट्रिंग रिजल्ट. सेल्फ लिख दिया मैंने पाइथन से. एक्स्ट्रा आवर्स Okay, so as of now I am doing it only for this programmer class. Similarly, I think you should be able to do for the sales manager and admin class. Employee में तो हमने किया ही है. So from everywhere it is going to fetch the employee. अभी आउटपुट देखो आप. पहले वो नाम दे रहा था ना, अभी जो हमने रिटर्न किया वो आउटपुट आ रहा है. अंडरस्टूड? तो जब आप so if I press F5 and I press F11 here, can you see where it is going? It directly jumps to programmer.cs and again if I press here you can see base. दिख रहा है? एम्प्लॉय का टू स्ट्रिंग मेथड कॉल होगा और फिर प्रोग्रामर का. सो ऑटोमेटिक वो टू स्ट्रिंग मेथड कॉल करता है. आई होप एवरीबडी ओके विद दिस पार्ट. सबको समझ में आया? सो मेनली वी हैव कवर्ड फंक्शन ओवरराइडिंग इन दिस सेशन. दैट वाज द मेन टॉपिक एंड पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म. ठीक है.